Okay, so I'm still a little embarrassed or whatever, and I still am like in shock. Like I can't believe that that really happened to me because it happened because of something that always happens, like something that is like and that hasn't happened in a long time because of my evolution, you know? But like throughout the years, me being gaslighted or like people being in my space after they like violated certain like sexual boundaries with me when I was a kid, like regardless of the fact like if I like still live with him, you know, because he's like him and my mom are still together, but like I've tried to move out and things like that and it hasn't worked. So it's like also God puts you like exactly where you're supposed to be, even if it seems like it's kind of like inappropriate like for you to still be in that situation. Like that's basically like how I was feeling about this situation, even though I mean I do also feel blessed, you know. Um yeah. So I have a lot of like deep feelings about the whole situation, but like my mom's husband was okay, you know, allegedly like when he got out of the hospital, like there was nothing wrong with him, like they didn't find anything wrong with him. But like it was mainly my fault that I went to jail because like my mom's husband was telling me like not to call police. Um and I still did and I was like kind of self-incriminating myself by my tone and just like saying things like that would basically like be an alibi. And when I was in jail, I felt like the way that they were treating me was as if I would try to attempt murder on my mom's husband. Like that's the way that they I don't know. I would just tell like certain like CEOs and stuff, I would just tell them like that it was complicated. And it was a lot of shenanigans. Like one of the things oh my gosh. Just thinking about it makes my anxiety so bad. Like, because, okay, like one of the things that I mentioned before, that I'll mention again, even though it's terrible, I was at like the tail end of my period or whatever. And like one of the COs, like when she had strip searched me, she took the pad that I had on, like she took it with her. Like I understand that they have gloves, but it was just like she was like doing too much. Like you know what I'm saying? Because I also had another pad that another guard had gave me. Like I asked somebody for it. It's not just like, oh, this was in my purse. It's like you have to ask people. You have to wait for them to come back. You know what I'm saying? Because they're doing other stuff. So it's just like I went through all of that just for her to like leave me by myself with no pad at all. Like that's like really dirty. And then it was like that was one of the things. That really had me thinking because it was kind of like okay like you try to make people feel like they're dirty based off of things that you superimpose on them. Like you can't really first things first. Okay, I was in there for a couple of days. These people, the girl, okay, well, not everybody, not just the girls, but I'm saying like the girl who took my pad or whatever, and who would always be like, "Oh, you stink." First, she was like, "Oh, your hair stinks. What did you eat today? Indian food." Like I put Ayurvedic herbs in my hair, right? Told her this first day, and then like every time she sees me or she would see me, she would be like, "Oh, you stink." But it's like they go home at night and then they shower, go to sleep, then they bring their ass back and they shower. They don't like I remember I used the bathroom and I asked for soap and they wouldn't give me soap and I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, okay, so if people take dumps in here, you just don't give them soap. Like that's really like unsanitary. Like that's how E. coli spread. Like you remember when McDonald's like had this whole issue, the outbreak thing, it was with E. coli. It was because people were not adequately washing their hands, but they would be like either like eating food or like cooking food. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I didn't understand that. And they would just be like just like okay, And then in the interrogation room, one of the interrogation rooms, it had period blood stain. Like somebody was sitting right there with no pad on, as per usual. Like they always try to make bitches bleed all over themselves. I don't know what it is with these with the fetish that these females. That's why I said something to the effect like, and I'm so sorry because like my brain be going like boop 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 boop. So it's like I feel like I meant to like touch on a few things, but one thing is like this is why I said I almost would have preferred like a man do it, saying it like facetiously, but also it's like because a man wouldn't deem certain things appropriate to do, like taking somebody's the pad they have on and then the next pad that they were gonna use, or like it's just like certain things. It's just like he would think like okay, that's enough, like almost like using something that you have in common with them like to your detriment. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like their whole excuses for everything is always like, oh well, this is jail, just you're not supposed to come back. That's the point or whatever. And it's like I understand that, and they did a good job like making sure people wouldn't want to come back. But like it's too unsanitary. Like that's crazy. Like this is America, and it's like I'm not even one of those like extremist patriotistic people. I know that's probably not the word, but I don't care. I'm not perfect. Okay. Ooh, I didn't use the right word. But like, okay, so the first night in there, I was in the cell. I cannot believe I'm telling this story because it is so traumatizing to me. But I was in the cell with this lady. She was a meth addict, I believe, and she was like going through like relapse or something because like her nerves were really bad, and she kept calling people, kept calling her brother, her dudes, boyfriends, her mom, and it's like she was in there. Her charge sounded the same as mine, so it was like she like her mom was gonna get her out of it, but it was like she was in there for basically like assaulting her mom or something like that. I didn't assault anybody, you know what I'm saying? I just, was trying to push him out of the doorway, so I closed the door. But he ended up falling all the way over. But I'm very glad, that there was nothing wrong with him, or whatever, because it's very interesting, how people become protected classes like as time goes on. Because I remember once upon a time when I was a protected class, I didn't necessarily like know what steps I should take like to utilize, um, like what would have best been for my life. But I guess whatever, like what's in your life journey, like that's what was best for your life or whatever. So okay, so this lady, she kept calling her mom, but she was like, no, I don't trust my mom because she's trying to write me out of the will. My dad left me some land in Big Bear. They think they can take my land from me. My daddy gave me that land. And I was just like, okay, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really felt like I was in there halfway playing like the therapist, because like the actual therapist was kind of full of it. Like, all she would ask you is if you wanted to kill yourself. Like, like she wasn't really. I don't know. Look. I guess everybody becomes jaded from the job. I'm not. I'm not. Well, maybe I am here to like psychoanalyze their system. The lady who was on meth, she ended up kind of telling me a little bit of her life story with her mom, and like the true nitty gritty of why she doesn't really trust her mom. And it's because like when she was 17, like her boyfriend, he was like older than her, and her mom like basically just said it like as like he raped her, even though she was like, no, I want to be with him, this and that. Even though stuff like that, it gets very tricky, very fuzzy, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, oh, she loves him or whatever, but it's like he is an adult. But it's like allegedly her mom put like extras on it, so like her mom made her get an abortion, and it like ended up messing up her insides. So this woman who was on meth, who I was sharing the cell with, she was like 60 years old, but she didn't have any kids at all. And her mom, she's up there in age, and every time when she would be pacing back and forth or when she would be talking on the phone, the way that she would think about her mom or what she deemed appropriate for her mom to do was all like from the point of view of a child. Like it was very interesting. It was almost like her mom interjecting herself with that situation kind of stunted her daughter's growth or like caused snowball or butterfly effect, whatever, of her daughter never truly growing up or being able to be like accountable, or and I also know that it's probably like a bit of it is like side effects of the drugs or whatever. But she was like, she couldn't just stop, like she couldn't really use her common sense, like of when her mom needed her to stop calling, she wanted her mom to come in like the following day in the morning and do something. But it's like her mom's like, listen, I can't hear you. Because one thing about these jail phones, they are the most stressful phones because they so fucking loud. Like, oh my god, like the whole everything, the whole room, hall, everything is like fucking like echoing. But the motherfucker on the phone swear they can't hear you. You be screaming at the top of your lungs. Everybody in the whole building will know all your business. And the motherfucker that you're trying to tell your business to cannot hear you for your like that shit is too much. But I assumed, but it's just a weird situation. I'm glad my mom got me out, but like when I went, I assumed, I was like, oh my god, they're never gonna talk to me again, blah blah. Because I was initially told like there was a protective order, but literally there was like nothing wrong with him. So like not almost like I didn't hit him. You know what I'm saying? Like I even told him that when I was there. I was like, it's not like I punched him. I didn't slap him or anything. Like I was just trying to like move his body. Cause like I'm 5'3", he's 6'4". Like he's very much bigger, but he's old now. Like so I understand. You know what I'm saying? I understand. That's what I was trying to say. But like, I didn't get no numbers on my phone. I really assumed that nobody wanted to talk to me, and I was very, very still. So I was surprised when it happened. I'm still kind of surprised that happened, even though it's over. Praise the Lord, thank God that it is. But like, cause I had just woke up. Like I didn't even like drink coffee yet. Like I and then I went to jail. My hair was down. I didn't have my bonnet. It was just like, and I felt so. I'm sensitive, so I felt so betrayed and annoyed because like, okay, when I was asking the men if they had like a rubber band or something for my hair, they would be like, "Oh yeah, you can ask the females. I'm sure they have some." Blah 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 blah. And then so then I get transferred. I see a whole like any they a motherfucker lie, bro. They all lies, and their excuse for lying will be like, well, you shouldn't get locked up, so this is why we're lying to you and treating you like shit. Like, okay, I guess that's the reason. You know, I mean, some of them, because some of them are really good people, but sometimes, like, is that really the reason? But I guess that's kind of small. Needing a rubber band, it seems small, but it was very annoying. Because my hair was dry, so it was flaking. You know what I'm saying? Like the Ayurvedic powders and stuff that I put in my hair was like flaking or whatever. Um, and every female in there swore that they did not have. I don't even want. Oh my god. I'm so glad I'm not in there no more. Like that shit about to make tears come out my eyes. Cause how disrespectful. How disrespectful. They talk to you like you a motherfucking child. It's so unnecessarily disrespectful. Nobody deserves to have to be put through that shit if they're an adult. I swear. Like it's like they make you regret everything. They make you regret asking them stuff, calling them. Like I remember I would be looking out the cell, whatever, out the window, and I would be looking, and I would try to like pick a time where it looked like they weren't really that busy or whatever. I would be looking at them and be like, oh, okay, they told them to go, see about who's in that cell by their name, they have a little checklist, whatever. So it's like even if you try to give them time to do whatever they need to do, they are still gonna act like you are fucking getting on their nerves and they don't have time for it, even if you was considered about what the fuck they was doing in the first place. That shit, I was just like, ah, like I, it's so, I was so pissed. And one thing that I've it scares me about myself. Like I hate this part of myself. Like when I have stuff on my chest, like I feel like I just have to get off my chest. Cause I actually called up there. Cause I remember when I was transferred and they made me take off every piercing that I could take out. And I'm not gonna say that much about this, but I'm gonna just say that I was so annoyed because I felt like the stupidity level was through the roof, and it's no disrespect to them. It's the girl who was personally asking me why the fuck I couldn't. She asked me why I couldn't take a fucking dermal out my chest. She asked me at the jail why the fuck I don't have a fucking whatever the fuck corkscrew screw ass shit, surgical ass tools to take the shit out for her. And then it's just like, I'm so glad I was only there for 4 days. But what made me mad was that they were questioning me about all my body piercings. They're like, "Oh, you have a lot of body piercing." Like they were laughing a lot. Like they reminded me of how girls treated me in high school. And I was telling them all about the piercings. And I mean, I had got some other piercings today, so it's okay. But like I had a long extended ass conversation with them, and I felt like the dumbest bitch in the world. Cause what the fuck am I? I'm sitting up here talking to them about my piercings so they could laugh in my face. And at the end of the motherfucking day, they did not put none of my piercings back. They didn't give me that shit back. Like almost they, and then that's another traumatizing thing. Like they be crazy as fuck. Like they act like they sure you gonna be in there so fucking long. Like they know you like that. And I damn near feel like I was in a soap opera because it was like every time I looked, they were traumatizing the fuck out of somebody, and they was personally getting on my nerves. Because I remember when I first got to the pod where I would be sleeping and stuff, there was a whole bunch of books before my pregnant homegirl that I met in there. She's so sweet. She's a good person. But anyway, before I saw like her book stash, I saw books right outside. I was like, "Oh, can I get some of these books?" They're like, "Not right now." And I heard a few of them say like, "You're not on your time, you're on our time." But like there's no fucking reason. It's like it's only for the sake of their like ego, because there's no true reason for you to be on their time like that. Like I remember the day I was supposed to go to court, even though it got canceled or whatever. Um but it got canceled when I was already at, like I had already went on the bus to go, see the judge. So I was already like basically I was in a different place. Okay. However you say that. But like she said, "Come on, let's go," or whatever, and I was on the top bunk using up my box as a table to write notes for the judge. So I had to put my box back. And I had to get down. And they feel like, "Oh, you're on my time so much. If you can't fucking do backflips over here in 10 seconds." She, like, if it wasn't for one of the other inmates holding the door for me, I would have got left. Like, they really be playing with your fucking life. Like, just like the other one who took my pads and kept saying my hair stunk. She took my notes and was like, "Oh, I should tear these up because they're not a court order document or something like that." Because I mean, there's no computers in the pod. So it's like, it's like they give you more shit to worry about. And then they swear that it's just because you're a terrible person and that you deserve to be worried as fuck. Like, they are so toxic, actually. Like, because like, okay, I remember there was a girl, she was in a wheelchair. um she was in a wheelchair. She was really pretty. She and I guessed her mix, and I was very very surprised because at first I thought she was like half Korean, but I was like, okay, if she's not half Korean, she's half Japanese or Pacific Islander. And she was half Japanese, but it's not half Japanese. She's an interesting mix like me, so it's like she's kind of like all the way black, but okay, like her mom is like Creole, like the French Indian black mix, right? And then her dad is black and Japanese. So like she's just so pretty, and she was in a wheelchair because needed a hip replacement, or like she had surgery. Yeah, hip replacement. She had surgery. And she was saying how she didn't know what was going on because they keep moving her, and they never like give, like she can never get all her stuff. Like she doesn't know what's going on, why they keep on moving her. And like as soon as we really started talking, like she moved, like they moved her, and it was like so painful. And I just hate the amount of pain that they give people. Like just like the girl who's kind of my homegirl, whatever, the pregnant girl, like she was talking about how when she went to court, even though she's in there for armed robbery, so it's kind of like they're not cutting her no slack or whatever. But it's like she's pregnant. Her baby daddy, he's also in jail. You know, she could barely see him. As soon as he blows her a kiss, you know, they have to haul him off. You know what I'm saying? And it like breaks her heart and makes her cry. And it's also really fucked up and inconsiderate because it's like they don't even be thinking like they could literally make people miscarry and all type of shit and just be like, well, this is jail. You shouldn't be here. Just like with the period blood being on the motherfucking seat in the interrogation room, like they feel like, oh, it's just jail. So certain things like you should just tolerate that shit. And it's just like, okay, like that excuse is barely fucking cutting it because the shit is really like totally against the law. So anyway, and that's the thing, they act like everybody in there is like a fucking terrorist or like was stealing, like doing something. Like they act like they're so sure that you deserve for them to like violate you. So I feel like I don't know, that's kind of weird. And I thought it was also weird because the same girl who basically like even though I gave her a hug and stuff, she was very good at stabilizing her own emotions, you know, especially to be pregnant. She was even saying that she was like, because I really don't want to miscarry, like I want my baby, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying not to let the shit get to me or whatever. Which I really, really I applaud her for, you know, I really look up to her for that. Um that girl, like I had asked her if my hair stunk because like the CEO kept telling me I need to wash my hair, but she don't have no shampoo. Like once again, and it's crazy because I literally told that CEO, I said, okay, I'm trying to solve the problem because it's like they talking to them is like talking to a brick wall. Like they just want to like get aggression out at you. So it's kind of like it's like what are you supposed to do? Like when she threatened to tear up like my notes or whatever because it wasn't like a typed up ass document like official document. I'm like okay, well where am I supposed to get that? You know like how do I you know? And she's still like no because this is da 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 da. And I'm just like okay I heard you like it's you know what I'm saying. But she's also the same one who was like stop resisting you know like um making it seem like I was like really resisting when I really like I wasn't even moving my like I wasn't even moving my arm at all. So it's just like I see like I in my head I was like I see where this is going. Like she literally just wants to put her hands on me. Like they're so weird. They're really weird. And I scared myself by leaving them a message earlier today, but I really felt like I had to because I felt like that was so petty of them not to give me back my piercings. Like they really think they was sure I wasn't gonna get out, but that's not even the point. It's like just the way they was tee ha ha laughing when they was looking at my body like, oh, you have a lot of piercings. Like, but it was a way, I don't know, like my shape has always been kind of different. Like I've never had an hourglass shape. Like I don't really need nobody to tell me like I'm not sexy or something or like I don't know how to explain it. It was just like I don't know, but I mean, God bless him. But I feel like I'm probably still leaving some out. Oh, with the meth head girl, like she like said thank you and cried and gave me a hug and stuff. Cause I was telling her that her mom was like definitely wrong for making her get an abortion, but her mom does love her because like her mom is right there for her, dead ass in the middle of the night. You know what I'm saying? Like so, yeah. I mean, there were people who had bad attitudes in there, but I wasn't gonna get into it with nobody in there. You know what I'm saying? Like I they took me to jail way too early in the morning. It's I I'm just glad I'm out cuz I couldn't believe that you creating boundaries for your own space is like grounds for somebody to take you to jail. Like that's different from assault. Especially as a woman, like you have the right like men should not really be in your space if you're not really comfortable with it. So, but yeah, you know, God is good or whatever.